If you can hear
Check
me
1,
through
2,
Doug's
3.
microphone, there we go. This is live, not live TV, but live streaming right now. Doug, your microphone's working.
Okay.
Great. Mine is the issue right now, which we're going to try to fix as we speak. Hello, hello, hello. Of course, that's not working. Hey, yeah, can you hand me that? Thank you. Oh, you know what? I figured it out. Doug, it's helpful if you turn your microphone on before we start.
I'll trust you.
These live broadcasts.
That's like putting, you need to put a shell in the gun.
Exactly. There we go. Exactly.
Get the right swing, the right aim, but if you don't have a shell in the gun, it doesn't matter if you pull the trigger or not. So I can, trust me, we can relate.
There we go.
Been there, done that.
We're in exactly that situation right now. As you may have been able to ascertain, joining me from North Dakota Game and Fish is Doug Leier. The Great Outdoors is back. Doug, thank you again for making this time with us here on
great to be with you. I almost feel like I need to be interviewing you because I've followed. You're an Alaska guy, and I've always wanted to ask somebody from Alaska. That old TV show Northern Exposure.
Yes.
Is that legit? Do moose just wander around and hang out?
They do. I'm from Salcha, Alaska, which is a small town outside of Fairbanks. So by small town, I mean it's like an area with a name that people live in. It's not really a town, but it's literally in the woods of Alaska, and so we just had moose walking around all the time, and that was something that my now wife was very excited for when we went up there. She was like, "You think we'll see a moose, huh?" I was like, "Yes, you will."
Yeah, that's cool.
They're so annoying.
Right, no, and that's legit. Like we get moose in town in Fargo every once in a while, or Grand Forks, and some of and we struggle, and we've been struggling trying to get across to the citizens that they're so big and so strong. Yeah. They go where they want, when they want, and if they want. And if people can just back off and give them some space, oftentimes they find their way back down to the river or out of town. It's when people want to take pictures and people start chasing them and documenting locations, and that's when we start having problems with moose. So Alaska, you guys have been doing it right for a long time, so I appreciate that.
I don't think it's by choice. I just think Alaska moose are so massive that if you walk up to them, you're going to have a terrible time. So not a lot of they don't get bothered more out of necessity than out of art.
Well, no, and it's legit because the biology behind it is they're so big, they're so strong. Their natural predators around here are few.
Right.
We have some wolves in Minnesota and things like that. But if you don't have grizzly bears, if you don't have natural predators, they have no real reason to be afraid of. Right. Even if you're a big guy, they don't have to be afraid of you, Devin.
I don't scare them at all, and I've been trying my best. I just walk up looking big, and it doesn't work.
Show your teeth. That's now I think of Wolfman.
There we go. Well, Doug, let's kind of talk about some of the things that you brought to our attention before we started this. One thing that stuck out to me, youth deer hunt coming up this weekend already. It seems like it just snuck up on everybody, right?
And in a way it kind of does, and reality is we started our hunting seasons in August. We had an early Canada goose season that opened up in August, our archery deer season. Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
Photos by yours truly, not to brag.
Yeah, and a beautiful shot, and those are the big birds that unfortunately cause problems. Yeah. For farmers with soybean fields in town. People get frustrated with the goose droppings on walk paths. Golf courses get frustrated with Kennedy. So that's why we have an early Canada goose season in August, is to reduce the population of those birds that cause the problems right here where we're at. So that season opened up in August, and we had our archery deer season open at the end of August. Dove season opened up. Wow. Last weekend, grouse and partridge. So we've had some seasons that have been opening up. And now this weekend, we kind of pump the brakes a little bit. And we give the youngsters, the youth deer hunters, the youth deer season starts on Friday at 12 noon. And this is really kind of cool because this takes place 6 weeks before the regular deer season. And the whole point of the youth deer season is to give those young hunters that one-on-one mentorship. So there's some regulations in place. You have to have an adult with you, and that adult can't just drop you off and sit in the truck. Right. They have to be with you. And it's not like you have to be tethered, but the point is to make sure that you've got a mentor, whether it's an uncle or an aunt or a neighbor or a friend that's helping you with your first ever deer hunt. You cannot, as the adult or mentor, you can't have a firearm or a bow with you because we don't want you going, oh, there's a deer, I want to shoot that one. No. So this is about the youth. So the youth deer season opens up on Friday. The youth waterfall hunt, that's Saturday and Sunday. And it's just kind of a way to give those young first-time hunters an opportunity with less congestion, maybe less competition, and to give them maybe a good first step into the hunting world. So it's kind of a fun way to do that. These are relatively new. Youth hunts have been going on literally for a couple decades, but for people like my age and older, they never existed.
Right.
And it was just like you're competing with grandpa and dad and brother, and unfortunately sometimes that competition just kind of, the focus and the teaching of the young hunter kind of got lost, and this has been a real valuable tool that we've had.
I love that, and some of my favorite memories growing up, obviously in Alaska, was going out and hunting with my dad. And it was like you mentioned, it was a little bit more competitive than maybe say a youth hunting opener would be, kind of giving these young guys a chance to go out there and get their first deer. I would have, my dad was going to get the first one every single time. I get what was left there. So.
Right, no, and I grew up the same way. And that's not to say that it was bad.
Right.
That's just the way that it was.
Right.
And this is to say, this is probably an improvement. This is taking the hunt, because let's not lose fact of how important it is to have somebody that took you hunting.
Sure.
Even if you don't, even if you're not an active hunter now, you got exposed to it, you understand it, and you're able to, to relate to it. And this is just an even better way to take that and improve upon it. So yeah, there was nothing wrong with the way it used to be. It's just like, hey, we can take these hunting seasons, we can move them outside of the regular season. We can make sure that there's a mentor with them, and that mentor can't be hunting. And that's kind of the whole philosophy behind these youth seasons. I should also mention on that, this isn't the only time to take them hunting.
Right.
It's not just,
that's fair.
Well, we took Junior on the youth duck hunt and the youth deer hunt, and now he's all done. No.
Stay home now.
Right. No. This is to kind of get them out there, to get them explain and to make them say, let's do it again.
Yeah.
And if I could encourage, an adult, it might be rainy this weekend, which is great duck hunting weather. Maybe not as good for deer hunting. If that young hunter loves chocolate milk and a hamburger and French fries, if you have an unsuccessful hunt, if they miss, if you don't find any deer, find next, go get them a burger and fries. Bring along some chocolate milk, because, wet feet, cold fingers, they can be cured with a hamburger and French fries and with chocolate milk. There's a way to do that.
Can confirm. And even if you may not necessarily find, even if you don't get anything with that youth opener, one of my favorite memories growing up is I was in a way too tall moose stand with my dad, we ate sunflower seeds. That was the whole day. That's all I had. Which, that's lack of preparation on my part.
No, but Devin,
it was fine.
Again, and it's all relatable, because I grew up with a dad that took me hunting and took me trapping and took me fishing, and some of the best memories are, Mom made a summer sausage sandwich, and there was a cookie in there, and you're like, though I might have missed every shot that I took, but man, that sandwich was good, and that's the part that sometimes adults maybe miss, is they think, man, they didn't get that duck, they didn't get that deer, they can still have a positive experience from that. It's just having that intention and having that as the mentor saying, okay, what do we need to do to make them want to go again? Like, they're not going to even just, you can sit out in the marsh, you can sit out there and you can see a moose come walking by. You can see a bald eagle flying up there. You're not going to see that in your basement playing Minecraft.
Exactly.
So get the kids, bring them along, and sometimes that positive experience may have nothing to do with the deer, may have nothing to do with the duck.
It's also a scientific fact. I don't know the exact science behind this, but food tastes better in a stand or a blind. I don't know what it is. I had an Uncrustable in the deer stand last year. It changed my life. It's the best Uncrustable I've ever had in my entire life. So don't know the exact science behind it, but we can call it a fact.
I stand with Devin. Yep.
Nobody fact checked.
Yeah, we can't discount that at all. See, you got an excellent on that.
Yep,
you got a comment in on Facebook.
Thank you.
An excellent. You're right.
I do want to mention we do have the Facebook Live open, so if you have any questions or any comments that you want to make, feel free to leave them, and we'll address them if we're able to. Doug, on the subject of the youth hunting, just how valuable we've talked a little bit about how valuable that experience is, but being out there in a real hunting situation, especially for somebody that young, just how valuable is that? Can you put it in words how important that is for them to get that?
And you bring up a good point, is that you don't want to just wait until Friday morning and say, hey, let's take the rifle out and let's go hunting. It might be Wednesday. You can still go out, sight in the rifle, and you can make things a little better. Ideally, you would have started this a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, getting them with to sight in the rifle, getting them a little bit of experience. But there's ways to make this a positive experience, and the best thing that you can do, as much preparation as you possibly can, is really key. Making sure that they've got the hunter safety, that's all taken care of in advance, but making sure that you stress that to them that, hey, this is real. This isn't practice. This is real. This is the real thing, and it's so much more than at a controlled environment, at a gun range, at a rifle range, out shooting clay pigeons and out, doing some target shooting. It's different. You've got the elements. You're going to be talking about maybe some wind and maybe some rain, which is great. I mean, that's great, but it changes the, similar to a football game. There's a lot of parallels that go into it. There's one thing about the practice facility, but then if your game is outside and you've got wind and you've got cold and you've got rain, it really doesn't matter what you're able to do in practice. It's what can you do in the real conditions, and you need to be prepared for that. And making sure that you've got some rain gear along if it is going to be rainy, and understanding that. So it's different, and also realizing that there's going to be thousands of other people out there, and it's not just that controlled environment. So you have to be aware of the other hunters and the surroundings that you're in.
And on the subject of some of the seasons opening here, you guys got another one opening on September 20th, Sandhill Crane season, which I wasn't even aware was a thing. Is that how popular is that one?
For the people that Sandhill Crane hunt,
yeah.
It's really popular, but it's a real niche.
Yeah.
And if people aren't aware of Sandhill Crane, they look like a gray stork. Mm-hmm. They stand 3.5, 4 feet tall. They've got big, wide wings. They got sticks for legs. Sometimes you see things like a great blue heron in a stormwater retention pond right in and around Fargo or Grand Forks or someplace else. They look similar to that, but don't be shooting those. Those are not Sandhill cranes. But we get a few thousand hunters every year, and one of the things that we see is that when you have these niche opportunities, you don't have to deal with as much competition. If you find a field of Sandhill Crane in central North Dakota and you stop at a landowner where the land is posted, no trespassing, no hunting, and you ask the farmer, hey, there's a field of Sandhill Crane out here, you mind if we go out there and hunt? And they'll probably look at you and go, really? You really want to do that? And here's what's part of the draw is, and I'm not going to try to take anything away from the Canada goose.
Yeah.
Beautiful bird.
Respect the Canada goose.
But they're not real difficult to hunt.
That's fair. Yeah,
okay.
I can see that.
The Sandhill Crane, they have long necks. They can see for a long distance. They're a very wary bird, so they're very easily easily flared. They can see for a long distance, makes them difficult to hunt. Sometimes they'll roost in one place in the morning and feed in a different place in the evening, so sometimes it's hard to pattern them. Okay. They fly very high. Right. Big bird, tough skin, tough to bring those birds down. And then, oh, by the way, they don't taste that great.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. So it's a difficult hunt. The next level of competition is how do we make these things taste good? And there's a lot of different recipes out there, and that's one of the things that people gravitate towards. Hey, can we make a stir fry out of this? Can we deep fry these and make some kind of steak fingers? And when you want to talk about free range, organic, natural, whole foods, the outdoors is where it's at. There doesn't get much more free range than a Sandhill Crane flying over the top of you. So they draw in kind of a real unique hunting group and appreciation for them. But it's another opportunity. Hunting season for Sandhill Crane opening up on Saturday, and usually these birds spend their summers in Canada. Sometimes, depending on the weather, it takes a little while to get the huntable numbers into North Dakota, but there's probably a few showing up in northern North Dakota. And a lot of times, hunters, especially with relatively cheap gas, they love to fill up the truck, go out there and do some scouting, and enjoy a little weekend on the prairie looking for some Sandhill Crane.
I was going to ask if there's a lot of meat with Sandhill Cranes, because they're a big bird, obviously, but they're real slender. Not a lot definitely nothing on the legs either.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there isn't.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, outside of the breast meat, a lot of it is pretty tough.
Okay.
Because they are
like the anti-duck.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to confuse this with the Thanksgiving turkey.
Right.
It's not going to be a white meat. It's a dark meat. Not going to be a real moist. Depending on how you prepare it.
Right.
I mean, so if you put in a little bit of research into ways to prepare Sandhill Crane, you might come up with some new fresh. I'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, send them here.
Yeah, we'd love to hear if you've got some ideas on cooking Sandhill Crane. We're all ears.
I don't want to keep bringing things back to my experiences in Alaska, but was talking about hunting things that don't necessarily taste great. The big challenge back home was bears. Because things taste like what they tend to eat. So if you get grizzly bears, they eat a lot of berries. That's awesome. Black bears eat like mostly dying things and trash. And so a bear jerky ended up being the way to go there. So there are ways to prepare these things to make them taste good.
First bear I ever ate was burger.
Okay.
And it was very, very greasy.
Interesting.
I would have to say that I probably should have had more onion, more ketchup, more bacon, more everything on that bear burger, and it would have tasted.
Whatever condiments you got.
Yeah, but I mean, and there's bear hunting season in Minnesota, and there's a lot of people that love the challenge of the hunt, and sometimes the challenge of the hunt, whether it's sandhill crane or bear, make the satisfaction of of food and of eating it even more. So it's not like, well, hey, I remember that hunt. And it's not so much about how does it taste or how you prepare it. It's like you also the recollections of the hunt as well that kind of add a little bit of flavor to the meal as well.
It goes back to the experience kind of outweighing
it does.
The end result.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, one more thing we wanted to talk about here before we get you out of here, Doug. Again, thank you for making some time for me. We're going to do this every Wednesday. Great Outdoors with Doug Leier. So if you have any outdoorsy questions throughout the week, feel free to send them our way, and we'll
love that.
throw them at Doug.
Yeah, please.
So one last thing that we got to talk about here: fall wild turkey. The lottery has been held. It says you say here more than 1,200 licenses remain for that.
Yeah, and they went on sale at 8 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
So I would check right now if you want to get. Here's the deal: our fall turkey licenses. That if there are any remaining, you can buy up to 5 of those fall turkey tags, and sometimes people love that combination. They might be going out west pheasant hunting. They might be going out west deer hunting. You can pick up another turkey tag, your first turkey tag, and if you missed it, if they sell out by 1 o'clock, if they sell out by tomorrow morning, or if they're sold out right now, the thing about it is that's notice for next year. Okay. Is that sometimes these turkey tags and other things don't sell out, but you might want to check right now. There may be some turkey tags remaining, and if you do, don't be saying, well, maybe tomorrow we'll get that turkey tag. But it also connects to the fact that there's so many things that we didn't even get to that are available on our Game and Fish Department website, and things, especially in the fall of the year. You get busy, your kids have football games, and you've got other family activities, and you check out the Game and Fish Department website. And I appreciate being able to highlight a lot of these activities that are going on. This is fantastic, and I just want to encourage people, check out the Game and Fish Department website where you can find some of the other topics that maybe we didn't get to.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, if you have any questions throughout the week, feel free to send them my way, devin.fry@valleynewslive.com, or just on our Facebook page. I'll find it. I'm all over everything digitally. So and I do see an option to purchase a remaining tag here, so it looks like there might still be some available. So
boom,
feel free
there you
to
go.
Check that out. Fall turkey tags still available this morning. 1,200 licenses left. We'll see what that number looks like.
I'm guessing it's less right now.
I would assume. All right. Well, Doug, again, thank you so much for making some time for us. We're going to go ahead and get you on here on a weekly basis here on the Valley News Now digital desk for the Great Outdoors.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to try to adjust this too as the seasons change. We'll see what other fun things
looks great
pictures of, but we'll see. Doug, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for making some time for us on our Valley News Live digital platforms. We'll see you next time. But for now, for Valley News Now, I'm Devin Fry.